Sometimes it's hard to feel vulnerable and when someone else is being cruel, unaccepting of me. Sometimes it's so easy to just go to get angry and attack and tell them to change their behavior so that I don't have to feel my sad, hurt, wounded feelings when they behave that way. Is there anything you can say about that? It's okay to get angry back. Sometimes anger's needed when somebody's being cruel and unaccepted. Just keep, even when you're getting angry or if you're going back and you're saying things back, just be aware of that. And don't get into the mentality that anything's not acceptable, that anything that you are, sometimes you need to fight back. Humans can be cruel. One time I remember with Khaleesi, there was this really cute dog that came up to her and I could see that Khaleesi was being aggressive, so I can stop Khaleesi from doing most things if I'm quicker than it happening. So I said to her no, and I made her lay on the floor and I made her be submissive to this dog. And I was stroking this cute little fluffy dog, and so she submitted to it because I told her to. And then as soon as I stood up, this dog attacked her. I full on physically attacked her. And poor Khaleesi, she'd been so submissive, she's laying on her back, so the dog went wild on her. And so basically the moral of that is that being submissive and allowing other people to act out their aggression on you isn't enlightenment. You know, sometimes it's needed to really be harsh with someone and to tell somebody where they stand and to back off. The reason why we dislike anger is because anger often fills into our hate of other people. And so don't stop the anger, but just be aware if you're hating them. And what hate means is like, it's like the sensation of really hating them and wanting to hurt them with what you say. And that's the thing that's really uncomfortable with anger. It's not actually the anger itself. Sometimes anger is really needed. You know, and Khaleesi growling at that dog was most probably really appropriate because that dog was having aggression to her and I totally misread it and then I left her vulnerable to being attacked. So sometimes this anger and this no, this big no, is really important. But just see if it comes with this hatred. And hatred, the way that you can detect hatred is if it keeps lasting and you keep repeating stories about how much you hate that person or dislike that person or want to change them. But anger actually can be really loving. It's actually not so much about the way the person behaves, it's more about the energy in which it comes from. And I would say one of the things that I'm still learning as a human, on the human side things, that Lisa's still learning, is how to be, this is going to sound really crazy, but how to be more defensive or how to show more anger, because it's important in the human world to really put up your boundaries sometimes and say, no, this isn't appropriate. I have a tendency, you know, I've been into this subject for so long, and also with my childhood and my experience growing up, I can have a tendency to be too passive towards people's behaviors. And if you keep repetitively being passive to people's behaviors, then they'll get into the pattern of keep acting those out with you. So. So this is from Gert that was on the retreat. What changed after last retreat is that I now go towards fear instead of dodging it. So whenever I feel fear in my body, I try to go deeper into it and let it pitter out like a dog following a scent trail. Just an observation. Yeah. we don't need to run away from all our sensations. And in spirituality, we often, or non-duality, we often have this idea that we should become like a Buddha, which has no feelings. You know, like we have this image of the still Buddha that doesn't have a feeling or react. But that image of the Buddha is meant to represent that non-movement part of life. If you actually look in imagery as to what in East represents life, it's actually Kali who's dancing on Shiva, who sits very still and very calm, lap. And she often has, you know, like people's heads in her hands and necks cut off, and like violent her dance. So I wouldn't, like, that image isn't how the human's meant to behave. The human's meant to be a human, which is all types of different emotions and feelings and sensations. But that image of the Buddha is the stillness, which is the other side to life, the non-movement of life. So it's not about not being human. It's seeing that the human is never the experiencer. The experiencer is totally still and unaffected by anything, and when it manifests in life, it's total and utter love. But the human is the instrument in which life is seen through, and the human always has to be human. And it's important to have all these reactions to things, to sadness when a child is hit in the road or something. Not that we ever see that, but sadness if we see a bird fly into the window. I've seen that quite a few times, and break its neck, or Khaleesi catches a chicken. What else? And anger if somebody's acting inappropriately. Like, these emotions are not bad. The thing that's suffering is the energy in which it comes from. When it comes from that tight, contracted energy, you feel like you have to dominate something, or you have to be in control, or you have to make someone feel a certain way. And it's all about you and happiness for you. But when it just comes out of this freedom, then it just comes up like a volcano erupting, and then it just settles back down. When it belongs to you, we just go into this imagined timeline that lasts for such a long time.